The other day, I was just scrolling on Twitter and I saw this screenshot that caught my attention. A producer named Ellipsy had posted a tweet showing her beat sales, and she asked some questions, like what external factors could be influencing my numbers? And is this enough data to predict April? Why or why not? So in today's video, I want to share some gems about those external factors influencing your sales and how you can sort of predict beat sales. So with beat selling, there are 4 factors that make up how much money you can make. This applies for selling anything online, really. Also, get your notes out because this is everything that you need to know about selling beats online. Those factors are website traffic, conversion rate, average order value, and a weird mystery factor. Now, I can either explain this very boringly or I can just show you. So here's Jacob. He sells trap soul beats. Now, we need to start somewhere, so here's his stats for last month. 400 website visitors, a 2% conversion rate, meaning that 2 out of every 100 people bought, and on average, his customers spend $50 every order. This comes down to $400 in sales for that month. Now, you may be thinking, am I a wizard? How did I calculate that? Well, he had 400 website visitors and only 2% of them buy, which means 8 people bought, and they spend an average of $50. So 8 people times $50 equals $400. Now, let's change these variables one at a time, and this is where it gets interesting. Let's say he gets 700 visitors next month, but everything else stays the same. Well, 2% of 700 is 14, and 14 times 50 means that Jacob made $700 that month. Let's say he goes back though to 400 website visitors, but now his conversion rate goes up to 4%. Well, 4% of 400 is 16, and 16 times 50, Jacob now made $800 this month. But let's say his conversion rate goes back to a 2%, but now the average order value goes up to $80. Well, 2% of 400 is 8, and 8 times 80, Jacob makes $640 this month. So I want you guys to see here, just by altering one of these 3 factors, your sales can change. And if your sales ever drop, you need to be measuring this so that way you know, hey, what the f happened? But how do you actually do that? Well, we'll talk about that in just a second. Remember earlier how I said there was this weird factor that I mentioned as the 4th factor? Well, instead of just explaining it, let me show you an example with Matthew May, a producer we've been working with a lot for the past year. If we look at his 2022 yearly stats, he had a killer year, but what about September? What happened there? Well, we looked at his data and here is what we saw. It's pretty interesting. All right, guys, so for the key metrics, I went ahead and made a graph based on Matt's stats from June the whole way to December in 2022. So we have visitors per month, we have purchases per month, we have conversion rate per month, have average order value per month, and then we have revenue per month. Now, if we do look at this, we can see there was a pretty big revenue drop in August the whole way down to September, but the truth is this was actually a lot worse, and we actually managed to kind of save the month for Matt. Let's talk about that. So let's start off by looking at revenue. In September 1st to the 24th, pretty much the whole month at that point, Matt had made $3,200 and the previous months were about $8,000 to $6,000. So that's quite the drop. And I mean, if you look at the other metrics, his purchases were almost like halfway down. I mean, the visitors definitely took a big decrease as well. The conversion rate, definitely alarmingly low, and the average order value of course dropped as well. Now, about halfway through September, I really do remember being like, yo, like what's up? Like his sales are really down and nothing changed at all, but like what's going on here? So what we decided to do was go ahead and run an end of summer sale the last week of September to see if we can't utilize his email list to try and make some more sales. And this is why having an email list is so important, right? As you can see, Matt's visitors definitely dropped, but having an email list was able to still direct people back to the Beat Store. It's another traffic source we could use. Also, if you want to get the details of the end of summer campaign, we actually made a YouTube video about it, so definitely want to watch that if you're interested to learn more about all of this and what we did. One more insight here that's going to be shocking to you, and then we'll get back to the video. So from September 1st to September 24th, like we said, it was about $3,300. And it was a really bad month, honestly. And then the end of summer sale, I believe, ran from the 25th to the 1st. So there is one day in March. And look at this, made $3K during that time period. So I'm truly not sure how September would have panned out. Even though we kind of managed to save it with an end of summer sale, it still wasn't his best month. But being able to see that your metrics are down and being able to actually have some tactical action on how to possibly fix this and get your revenue back up, that's really what matters, and that's why having an email list and knowing how to run sales campaigns is so important. Now, when talking to Matt, he said, yo man, this is kind of weird because this sort of thing happened exactly last year in September too. And if we look at the graph, lo and behold, there is that September sales dip in 2021. Now, Matt didn't have Google Analytics installed, so we don't really have any exact measurements here as to why this happens. Now, it's only a guess here, but the idea we had is that with his audience mostly still being old enough to just still being in school, they're probably going back to school during this time period and not spending a lot of time on their music. Now, another thing you might have saw in these graphs is that both years, November and December, have a pretty big spike. Why is that? Well, we'll talk about that soon, but I want to talk about measuring data first. And yes, it doesn't sound fun, but it is crucial unless you just want to keep on being confused as to why you're not selling beats, or if your sales dip and you're like, bro, what happened? Data will tell you. So in order to get these numbers that are crucial, you either need a pro page, or in our case, you're using a custom website. Now, I don't recommend using a pro page, and here's really the biggest reason why. I've talked to producers who are like, hey Ryan, I started tracking my data and I can see that my conversion rate is pretty bad. How can I fix that? Well, the issue is the pro page really has you locked into their design. So all you can change are a few colors, but nothing drastic that's gonna change the results and give you a better conversion rate. So ultimately, you can't change much. Now, to measure this though in the first place, you need a tool called Google Analytics. And I highly wanna note this will not work on the marketplace. So please do not use the marketplace as your main BeatStore website. And then once you have the tool installed, you can start pulling all these numbers so you can start tracking your visitors, your conversion rate, and your average order value just by doing some simple math from these numbers. In fact, when it comes to sales data, we go a bit overboard with having our students in CCS use this custom dashboard that we built. But it's super helpful to get a complete overview of your beat selling business. Now, remember earlier how Matt for 2 years in a row did really good on November and December? Well, there is a reason for this. Pop artists love making Christmas tracks. So once I saw this was definitely a trend in 2021, we upped it a notch by doing a Black Friday sale and a Christmas sale this year as well. Pretty simple idea, right? If people buy more during this period, run a sale and you'll probably get even more people to buy again. And we were right. In November and December, we helped Matt get to his best months ever selling beats online. So now you're probably wondering, well, how can I start influencing these factors to go ahead and make some more money? And also, if I notice that my sales are dipping or I'm having a bad month, how can I go ahead and get tactical and try and make some more money so that way this thing doesn't end bad? Well, I put together a free unlisted video you can watch that's gonna show you how to install Google Analytics and also some tactics how to go over how to make a high converting website and how to save your month if you're having a bad one. So if you wanna start selling more beats, you need to get on this ASAP, so please click here and watch it. Peace out, have a good day.